All right, so you might be wondering, what is the easiest way to start trading options, or how do I get into this? So I want to share some light here for you as you get into trading options into the getting started realm. So if you're brand new, getting started, this video is specifically for you. Okay, so there's a couple of great things that you might want to start with actually that I'll give you even more insight than what I can cover in this video, because this video is just more of a bigger overview. And I would recommend you go to the getting started page on our tradersfly.com website. So go to tradersfly.com. There's also a lot of links in the description below. If you're watching this video on our website, you should already be there. There's going to be a start here section. Somewhere there will be a start here, and you'll see it up here at the top. And then when you go there, you'll be able to go ahead and check out Options Trading 101. There's also a getting started guide before you even get into options, but you could check out the Option Trading 101. Now in here, I talk a little bit more about a learning path and getting started. This is in fact what I deal with a lot when I go in and deal with people with coaching, when I do one-on-one individual single coaching sessions, or when I work with people for like 3 months, 6 months, or even a year at a time. So what we do is we put on exercises, and I put on paper trades with them. I want them to go and fail on some of those exercises and succeed in some of the other exercises, so you could see what to do when you get in trouble, and you could see what successful trades look like. That way you're exposed to a lot of different scenarios and situations. So when you go through this, you can kind of get an idea of what this is partly about. So first, understand what are calls and puts. So as you're getting into getting started, start with the basics of calls and puts, and understand it's not just buying. You're not just buying anymore like a stock. You would just normally think about buying, but then you could sell a stock or short a stock if you've gotten to that level. But what you can do is go in and look at buying a call, buying a put, or selling a call and selling a put. So there's 4 different parts of the trade. You can be a buyer of a call or put, and a seller of a call or a put. So there you go. There's the 4. And we kind of start there. This is typically the approach that I go with, is learn to understand those basics and mechanics, because everything else beyond this is a combination of all of these together. So if you're doing a butterfly, iron condor, or diagonal, it doesn't matter. It's all a combination of these, a single, whether you're a buyer or a seller, and it's a combination of those things. Okay, then what you might want to do is start looking at how you can incorporate those things into stock, or you're doing, stock plus a call. Okay, so this is known as a covered call strategy. Okay, so this is kind of the next thing to kind of work on. So number 2, if we're thinking about it, this would be kind of the next thing to work on besides the single buy or single sell on call and put. You're kind of working now selling covered calls because that's kind of the next level. After that, what I would start looking at is starting to get into trading verticals. Verticals is probably the next best thing, because the basics is a good starting point. But after you've got some of the basics down, get into verticals, and then probably iron condors. And then you can get into pretty much anything after that, whether it's calendars or butterflies, or diagonals. It's really up to you. But get into at least the verticals and then iron condors, and then you should have kind of those strategies down before moving on to maybe calendars, diagonals, because they get a little more complicated because you're doing split months. That's what at least I found. Some people do pick up the calendars and diagonals a little faster. It's not always the case. I'd say most cases it's better to do the iron condors and then go into calendars and diagonals. But I will say some people do pick those things up. So that's kind of the general learning path that I find works for a lot of people, and where you might want to start with. Now, obviously, you could go in and go through all kinds of videos for free if you didn't want to do any like one-on-ones or courses or anything. Just going into, let's say, our blog section here, what you can do is go in and say, okay, what about covered calls? So you could do a search for covered calls, and then you'll be able to find a bunch of videos on covered calls or anything that's related to a covered call. You could also go in and, look through, let's say, just single calls and puts. It's a little bit more difficult to do that though, because when you do a search, it actually will also, anytime we talk about single calls, it'll also pull up those videos. So those are a little more tricky. So maybe check out some of these different sections specifically for these option basics and so on. So you can kind of filter some of that content. It's not working here, so I'll have to double check on that. But in general, that's kind of the best approach. If you really want the fastest approach, a course will get you that much faster. For example, doing an options foundation course right here. This one alone is multi-hours long. So it's 11 hours and it'll give you all the basics behind it. But if you're trying to save some money, you're just kind of doing it on the free side, then by all means, there's a ton of free content right there on the blog, just going through the videos. But that's the learning path you want to start thinking about, is like, hey, how do I go through this step by step? Is starting out with understanding the singles first. So going in with the singles, then going in with stock and singles, which would be kind of the covered call. And then after that, what you're going to do is start getting into probably verticals and then iron condors. And then after that, it's kind of the sky's the limit. Obviously within that, you're also thinking about portfolio management, risks, and that kind of thing. But that could be a good learning path if you're just brand new, looking to get started with trading options and just understanding this business as a whole. Anyways, I hope that helps. Truly appreciate you sticking with me. If you have any questions, do reach out. There's a lot of questions that I do answer by email. You can also sign up on the Discord server and ask some questions there. But, hopefully I might get a chance to chat with you on one of the coaching sessions or one-on-ones. And if you decide to work with me on a 3 or 6 month basis, then we'll be sure to definitely cover a lot of these questions for you and make sure you're set up correctly and properly in doing and understanding how these trades work and behave. Anyways, thanks for joining me, and maybe I'll get a chance to speak with you soon. So thanks and take care.